I have comments online. I have my own thoughts. I have a panelist. I have a panel with panelists. So there are so many opinions today to go through. There's what is happening on the paper. So I'm trying to cover as much as possible in this segment of the newspaper review. Get your copy of the papers and put it just alongside. Alafu tutafuatilia tuone unasemaje. So let me maybe begin with an interesting comment that I saw, and then we can pick it up from there. And it was from the Gambler 254. Anasema, tell those doctors to wait. We must finish the 600 million renovation of presidential offices. We must finish 1 billion for CAS vehicles. We need 1 billion for MPs and CAS presidential travels. We need to finish up with 500 million for parliament committees, tea and mandazi, very important. We have to finish up with 150 million for inviting non-cultists and scammer preachers, etc. So mkwe wa pole. That's a Kenyan. Anaambia wadaktari ambao wako on day 6 of their strike. The Standard this morning is showing housing billions. Ruto has his way. That's the headline. 178 billion Kenyan shillings revenue collected through the levy, expected to grow gradually to 70 billion in this current financial year and 78 billion in the next year. President William Ruto is ascending to law the housing bill, which has already passed through the Houses of Parliament. That's the Standard, and the picture is of President William Ruto akiwa na koroga simiti hapo, yeah, anajenga nchi. End of the first construction worker. Daily Nation exposed shame of globe-trotting county officials. That's what Gambler 254 is saying. We have to finish up with these pressing issues. Lazima watu wa travel goals of the county officials. The details here in amounts of money across the counties, and this is the amount of money they have spent in globe-trotting, despite of that opportunity or of that statement from President William Ruto that gave an order against this kind of travels by officials of government. The Business Daily, how SGR revenues slowed before 50% train fare rise. So passenger revenue growth has slowed down since the pandemic, and this is being blamed on fuel costs, but also on that increment in the fare prices of the SGR. Gentlemen, President Eston Maina. Yes. Eston Maina is joined on his right by a member of that committee of NKUSA, National Executive Director. Welcome to the show. Nitaanza na wewe, alafu tunaenda kwa president. Wewe ni resident, alafu tunaenda kwa president.
Okay.
So
let me say good morning, Richard. It's been a minute.
Good morning, and yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a long while.
Yeah, I think I'd taken a little bit of sabbatical.
I see what you're up to, actually.
To rejuvenate.
Yeah. Have you been rejuvenating? Because I see Miss and Miss Autism activities inaendelea sana pale.
Well, yeah.
Chini ya maji kuna kazi bado.
Kazi ni mingi on my table.
Yeah.
But on the first note, I want to, actually it's a sad morning. I received a briefing this morning that the Kenyatta University this morning, the School of Public Health, lost 21. I think 11 students, 21 are injured, 4 are still unaccounted for. So it's a start. It's really a sad morning for us students, and because partly Kenyatta University resides in Rosambo, on the far east Kenyatta market. So I still feel I'm a family of this institution. However, I think that's what I want to start with, sending my deepest condolences to the families, to the teachers, to the students. I know it's a sad morning as well, because we understand that this was a tragic event. I had a briefing that they left yesterday very excited, but by the time it was evening, it was very sad.
Yes.
So poleni sana, and tuko pamoja kwa hii maombolezi. Secondly, let me say good morning to the people of Roysambu, and because today here I'm with my colleague, our national treasurer. I know it's an MKUSA panel. I told you we are a system. Tunanyanga pole pole tu. And
system leo full for supper.
And he is going to say much about where he comes from.
Okay.
and what he does as well.
Right.
And to say good morning to all the friends and family of Mkusa who are joining us to see this great show of the Mkusa.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
asante
Great
sana.
show of Mkusa.
Yes.
I love it. You're taking over Biashara Tuesday, man. Anyway, ni Biashara Tuesday bado. Use that hashtag. Wachana Mkusa. But we have the money man himself,
Yes.
so I think it's still apt to call it an Mkusa show kwa sababu National Treasurer of Mkusa is here. President Eston Maina mwenyewe. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the money show.
I see we have something in common. I'm the
Yeah.
national treasurer. You are Richard.
Yeah, a rich
He's
man.
rich in his name.
Yes.
I'm rich in the coffers. They're not
Yeah.
mine, but
I
keep
hope you
them
didn't
safe.
find empty coffers when you are getting into Mkusa.
That is not something I would blame my association for.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they know how to take care of their resources.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank you for having us. And secondly, I would want to send my profound condolences to the friends, family members, and the administration, the students of Kenyatta University for the 11 students we lost and the 21 that were injured. It is saddening. It has been a recurrent pattern lately with the looming accidents. With now the 11 students from Kenyatta University, we had Kapsabet Boys where we lost a student and 23 were injured. We had Maadili Junior School where 3 students were lost, 5 were injured. We had Itoleka Girls, 38 students and 10 teachers escaped narrowly. We had Goodrich International School where a 4-year-old boy was crushed while being dropped just a few meters from home. Then we had Lily Academy, where a 9-year-old drowned in the swimming pool. Then we had Visa Oshwal Primary School, where a grade 2 pupil was found in the swimming pool after missing for a day. So this goes to tell you that we need to put more emphasis in our schools when it comes to security measures. The same way we put pressure on performances, it is about time we put pressure on the security of these students, because most of the times we only review the performance. We don't look at the safety. We don't do regular checks on the school vehicles. We don't do regular checks on the swimming pools to see if our students are safe. Because when a parent sends a student to school, they don't expect them to go back home in a casket. So it is something we need to look at carefully. Just the same way we put the same level of emphasis that we put on performances to our health and security of our students. So my profound condolences to all the students and parents, the administration, everyone who is affected by this, even the friends of the affected.
Yeah, that list that you just read there sent chills down my spine. Yeah, those are a lot of incidences for students in a short while, in a short span. And as you said there, Aptil, I just want to emphasize that it's important that we do that review outside of academic performance. When a parent sends their kid to school, they're not just expecting you to take care of their academic needs only. Also take care of their safety needs, security, everything else that is encompassing their presence on that institution. Yeah, look at the roads, look at their safety at night, where they're sleeping at. How is it looking like? Are there locks? Are there fire escape mechanisms? And all this infrastructure they're using, is it up to date and is it regularly checked? But again, sending our condolences to all those who are affected, and especially within this campus which we broadcast from, which is Kenyatta University. It's a very sad day today within the compound. But now we're getting into matters of what is happening in the dailies, and thank you, gentlemen, for creating time even within this kind of environment that we find ourselves in, and the state of the nation. And that's what we are looking at here. The standard housing billions, housing levies, what is in priority. Daily Nation, shame of Globetrotters, county officials. The Business Daily has SGR revenues which have dropped. Nick, ukiangalia kwa hizi headline tatu, a standard housing levy, Daily Nation is a Globetrotting officials, and the Business Daily on SGR revenues.
The Daily Nation keeps doing bad every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just everything is just in one page.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, it's too loud.
Everything is one page.
Noisy.
It's chaos. It's chaos. Like you see, you look at the standard, for example, housing billions, right? Ruto has his way.
Full stop.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Look at Daily Nation. Exposed. Shame. Good news. Damning verdict. Doctors
strike.
Oh my
Secondary
goodness.
schools get
Decide
cut.
which headline you
Yeah.
want to
And
do.
then
Someone should talk to the editor.
it's chaotic. There are numbers, there are words, there are pictures, there are headlines. Yeah, it's too much going on in the Daily Nation. I have to agree with you there.
Anyway,
Yeah.
they once said gazeti ni ya kufunga nyama.
Eston, when you take a look at the headlines, do you also agree that maybe Standard may get it right?
Yeah, I think
in
so,
the
because
presentation?
like I said, the Daily Nation is a bit confusing,
Yeah.
because it's like you're supposed to pick your favorite
Yeah.
and make it your headline. I think we should have one major topic, then we can narrow down with the others.
Okay.
Because now this is very confusing. It is very confusing. I see the president like shaking, and now
Leg shakes. Amesema handshakes si zake.
amesema sahi ametoka. Now he wants to leg shake because he promised Kenyans he will not be handshaking.
Yeah.
And then we see now we have the shame of globetrotting. Now we have the CS down there. It is chaotic.
Yeah, it's chaotic.
Yeah.
Kwa sababu mgala muwe na haki umpe,
Yeah.
wacha tumpatie haki yake.
Okay.
Tuanze na yeye, huyo mgala ambaye tumeua. Daily Nation exposed shame of globetrotting county officials. 13 counties that spent more on travel than they were generating in their own source revenue. So here is a damning verdict on the Daily Nation. October 30th last year, 2 7-member delegations from KUTV County Assembly flew to Singapore to attend workshops and spent over 22 million for the 5 days they were there. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, as the Control of Budgets report here shows that for the final half of last year, they found that some counties were splashing more on travel than they were generating in their own source of revenue. There are numbers here next to every county. Bomet County iko hapo, total expenses in millions, 128, compared to what they generate at 67 million. Anyone wanna spend more outside there, more than double. Busia 165 total travel expenses, then their own source revenue in millions, 133, and then they're detailing, of course, several counties as well. Then more of this story is on page 6 and page 7 of your dailies. I'm looking for my county, Kisii County hapa, 181 million total travel expenses, and then their own source revenue, at least it's above that at 259. Still, it's more according to what the regulations have been put there and the executive order by the president last year, where he limited the number of travels. But, you know, if you're shaming the counties, we still have to shame the top leadership, which has also been globetrotting, and their figures which we can get very quickly. Now, gentlemen, the president came out last year, akasema watu wasitravel, hawa ndio amount of people ambao wana travel, hao ndio watu wanafuata, but it seems no one really cares about that, Nick.
Well, you have to understand that the president is the president of the state, and these counties have their own, in quotes unquote, quote unquote, president. They run their own governments, and how I understand, according to our Constitution of 2010, how devolution is been captured in a way that each county is responsible for its own revenue. You have to generate and also spend. However, there is still a small, let me say, small line, a thin line, whereby the government, the national government, has to supervise what the expenditure through the Auditor General of our, and the control of budget of each county. And just to bring the matter to where you want it to go.
What are you saying, bro?
I know where you want this conversation to
it's
go.
actually where it's at. I'm not taking it there. The president has been traveling everywhere, every day. His best office, or his primary office, is on Air Force One. Inaitwa Air Force One?
Yes.
Air Force One, Kenya One, alafu pia on top of his car, hapo kwa hiyo sunroof. Yeah, it's where it's at. I'm not taking it there, but please lead us there.
Well, what I can see, let me just pick where I'm coming from, Nairobi County.
Yeah.
Our total expenses is 590 million. Our revenue is 3,000. Let me just say that is 3.8 billion, right?
3.8 billion, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
If not wrong. Could be we are
It is
doing
3.8 billion, yes.
could be we are doing well
Yeah.
in terms of revenue collection, but unfortunately the people of Nairobi are still suffering from the same disease. Poor housing, right? Congestion,
Yeah.
right? Lack of water. I saw a memo that was released this morning that apparently from 9 a.m. Kenyatta University and Kenyatta Market going down, they're supposed to be missing electricity.
Yeah.
That's still a struggle.
Yes.
We're living in a city called Nairobi City. We're not in Wajir. And we still, there's still challenges on garbage collection and, let me say, what's the word? Rehabilitation.
Yeah.
We are still struggling. We are still talking about such issues in the 21st century, especially in a city like Nairobi.
Yeah.
Yet, you can see
What wanna travel?
our revenue is very high.
Revenue could do.
Right?
Yeah.
We are still talking about unemployment. That right now we are still at 80%. Yet Nairobi houses most of the young people, most families. Yet Nairobi is supposed to be the hope of this country.
Yeah.
So it's still disturbing that
We can have that kind of situation in a county that has this much revenue.
exactly, because as I see, Nairobi is the highest from this list.
Yes.
And this is where I reside from. And I don't know what I'm going to tell the people, for example, because this morning, if they hear me talking about 590 million, yet Mama Lucky, where I buy my vegetables, says he cannot afford to buy a whole week vegetables.
Because of the kind of pricing that is there in that market. Yes.
So it is a sad morning that we can talk about expenses rather than what devolution is supposed to do with this revenues collection.
Right.
Because I will tell you, there's a program that goes on in Roysambu. Probably Sakaja should know that each and every Wednesday, those people in the name of Kanjo come and collect revenue. Each and every shop. Wednesday. I assure you, today, if I take it to Roysambu, at exactly 12 p.m., because that's when the collection starts, you will see that they have to collect a minimum of 100 shillings per shop.
Right.
That is revenue.
This is revenue that is used to spending. Eston, which county do you come from? So I can see it.
I come from Laikipia County.
You come from Laikipia County. Hapa hivi Laikipia County, total travel expenses 93 million Kenyan shillings, and then their own source revenue at 425 million. So you're doing well as compared to others here. But let me just give you an example of some other travel that I have seen here, and then we can get to have your sentiments as well.
Okay.
He hasn't touched about the president. The president gave out a directive on travel. I am assuming from my end is that, you know, kama mkubwa yeye hajapunguza travel yake, why should I? I'm guessing that's the general sentiment from these counties. Even looking at what the distribution looks like in terms of those who are spending the most are counties that most or half of these ones are in his backyard in Rift Valley. An example is 8 officers of Kericho County Assembly who are paid 9.6 million to attend a cultural conference for 5 days. They spend 5 days in Dubai, wakatumia 9.6 million Kenyan shillings. In Embu County, ama wacha ni mention Nandi ya backyard ya president before niende Embu. Wasin Gishu?
Yes.
Yes, Wasin Gishu here, I see that's the president's county, right?
Yeah.
Wasin Gishu. Umeipata?
Yes, third last.
Third last. Wasin Gishu 160 million in travel expenses, 276 in their own source revenue. So they all wamepita way more than half. Just a very comical one here. Nandi County. Nandi County, 2 Nandi County executives got 1.8 million to visit France. Guess for what? For a 2-day food conference. Watu walienda kukula. Lakini wamepatiwa 1.8 million for 2 days. 2 officials for 2 days. And there's another one here, 3 officials from Bomet County, executives who are given 3.5 million and they spent it in a week. 3 people 3.5 million, so kila mtu akipatiwa mita 7 days alafu mnarudi nyumbani. Eston, what are we looking at here?
That is sad. Seeing people getting paid to eat, you kukula fair. That is the
to ask Peter, what is the
exact meaning of
eating?
Kukula fair. This is serious.
I think those are the ones who deserve to be arrested.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that were arrested in Nigeria for not fasting.
Yeah.
So this is very saddening, and I think it is a typical case of monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
Because you cannot preach water and drink wine as the president. Because our president has traveled more than the former president and Moi Kibaki combined in the span that he has been in, and that is slightly more than a year. And he has traveled more than a span of 20 years from his predecessors. That goes to tell you that his juniors, they look up to him. And if they see the president not walking his talk, what do you expect them to do? For example, look at a county like Turkana. Turkana County, in the last financial year, there was a case where about $1 billion was unaccounted for. In a county that has scarce resources, how do you fail to account $1 billion? If there's any county that should be able to see money and notice it, it's Turkana.
Yeah, because
they're not supposed to be missing money.
A lot of places to see the money.
Yeah, because they don't have anything else to show. Yeah. So if there's money, it should be seen, it should be traceable. But when you have a county that does not account for $1 billion, in this kind of times that we're living in, that goes to show you how unserious we are as a nation. And when we have counties actually using more to spend, more to travel than what they're earning, that goes to show you a county like Bomet, where the priorities are. And these same people will go back to the people and say that we don't have resources, we cannot take our doctors back to work because we don't have resources. Yet they're going to France to eat. What is that?
For 2 days, yeah.
For 2 days.
Right.
They're getting paid to eat. Then you come to our doctors and tell them they should understand. What are they supposed to understand?
We don't have money. That's what they're saying.
And what are you using to travel? Bags of rice.
Right. And you can see here from the time that President William Ruto, through the head of public service, Felix Koskei. This was way in October last year when they gave out those limitations, or they imposed the travel bans for public officials. Ironically, our expenditure on travel has tripled. And after the measures have been put in place, now we got worse. It's like now we know where our boundaries are. Let's now do it even way above what is expected. This circular, which was issued in October, maybe just to refresh our memories on the restrictions and how they look like. The delegates, the restriction on the delegations which are accompanying the president, deputy president, and all the others on foreign trips as well. So there was a limitation where the cabinet secretary is to be accompanied. At least one person should be a technical officer, and then specialized in that subject matter with no security or personal assistance or logistical people whatsoever. A delegation involving cabinet secretary is capped at 3 persons limit. When it comes to the delegations for county governors, this is also capped at 3 people.
Okay.
Yeah, should not exceed 3 persons. And any other person who wants to travel outside of those people I've mentioned, unaenda peke yako. Unaji-sort, yeah? Is it that maybe now they are like, okay, since these other people are not traveling, now we have all the money, Nick. We have all the money for the delegates who are not accompanying us. Now let's balloon that expenditure. I had to do all the logistics planning myself. I need money for this. I need money to plan where I sleep at. What is happening here?
No, Richard, I once told you here, if I was to start a company and then I want to hire people, different directors, I will really specify on one director called the Public Relations Director. And I once told you this. One, Mr. Ruto is really good at PR. That he knew the grievances that are affecting the people of this country. He knew that his issues of traveling were the problem and a matter of discussion of this country. So what do? Let me cause a distraction.
Yeah.
Let me come out and say publicly and announce that I have banned everyone from traveling apart from myself. So that's exactly what he did.
So it's a PR move.
It's a PR move. It's a public relations move. He is still traveling. He's not going to travel. Right now, there are plans for him to travel at least 3 countries in Africa for the sake of this AUC.
A job for Raila Odinga.
You understand? How much is it? How much are we going to use just as the head of state? You understand?
Yes.
And it is very ironical because he has given an order to the head of public service. The head of public service cannot sanction his boss from traveling.
Yeah. You can't stop your boss from doing what he's told you.
It's really typical here today.
Yeah.
You know that me and you, Richard, that our boss is Ryan here today. And today we cannot sanction Ryan for operating this show. We'll be kidding ourselves.
Yes.
The budget that has been allocated for this show, only Ryan can approve. And we can go on this show. And today I'm telling Richard, go and tell Ryan that this budget needs to be cut down.
Mwambie ache to spend more on his end. That's completely possible. So I like what you brought there, that it seems that President William Ruto is good at knowing what we are. He's very good at knowing what we are facing.
What we are suffering from.
Yeah, and
he is very smart in this aspect. He knows that he does not have the mandate to tell the counties what to do, because it's in contravention of the constitution, because we are a devolved nation. So he cannot tell governors not to travel. So he will still come back to the people and say, I told them, but what do I do? The constitution limits me as your president.
That's a very smart move.
The same way they say about when we have cases in court, what do I do? The judiciary
has decided
is autonomous. What do I do as the president?
Right. And this puts him somehow in favor of
the people.
Of the people.
He wants to
like, mimi sina kitu naweza fanya.
That is populist politics.
Wow. Yeah. And he has been a populist candidate
for the longest time.
Yeah, since before he
we should not even be surprised.
Yeah.
This is what we bargained for. This is what we signed for.
Yeah. We're seeing the same case now that we're picking it from that point. Can we say the same with the chest thumping that is currently happening, which is dollar imeshuka, mafuta imeshuka, stima imeshuka, but when you look at it from an analytical perspective, these prices are still higher than they were before they came into power. The shilling is still higher than it was before President William Ruto took power. So it's fuel.
This whole thing is very funny. We have a government that is double-tongued. When it comes to the gains, we should thank them for the gains.
For the gains, we thank them.
We thank them.
Yeah.
But for the losses, it is not in our power. It is the international market. We don't control the market, the demand, the supply. It is the international market.
But
when now the prices go down, it is the government that has worked its way towards that.
Yeah.
The same case is happening in our Ministry of Health. When it comes to receiving money, the national government wants to receive money on behalf of the counties. Yeah. But when it comes to paying personnel, they say, go back to your counties, ask for the resources there. So when it comes to expenditure, they want the counties to pay for that. When it comes to now remuneration, they want to receive it.
They want to receive. They want to be on. They want to devolve and not devolve it, depending on where.
At their convenience.
Yes, at their convenience.
Yes.
Now that we're picking it there, at the bottom of the Daily Nation is where the doctors' strike is being talked about, and it's at the back page as well. Doctors' strike still on as talks collapse. Just to pick it from where Eston has left it, I wanted to read that statement, which talked about devolution, but just to put our viewers into perspective, talks between the government and the doctors collapsed yesterday as a strike called by KMPDU enters now today's 6th day. The court had on Friday ordered that the two parties to have a settlement to alleviate the suffering of thousands of patients across the country. But now this is yet to be realized, as there are many grievances that the doctors say the ministry should have a look at. This is what KMPDU Dr. Mwachi, who is the national chairperson, said. We would like to remind the ministry that we are aware that when they are doing housing and deducting our funds, then suddenly housing is not devolved. When they are doing tenders, managed equipment scheme, and sending it to the counties, health is suddenly not devolved. But when we run to the mother ministry and tell them that in 2017, doctors negotiated return to work formula and they had a CBA that gave them a very measly increment through the treasury, we are told to go back to our counties and for each individual county to negotiate with the treasury. So they're told to only deal with the issues under the Ministry of Health when it comes to the Ministry of Health receiving money.
Yes.
But when it comes to disbursement, they're like, hey, this is a devolved unit. You're speaking out of your scope. And they're saying now they don't want anything else. They do not want any more promises. What they need is actual outcomes. The suspension of strike is pegged on an all-nation approach to resolving the issues which they have been bringing out. These are the issues. They want outcome for the doctors, outcome for basic salary arrears that have not been paid for 7 years, outcomes of letters of posting of interns, which has not happened for a year on, for doctors who are struggling with postgraduate education because of their exams, and the outcomes for doctors who are yet to be employed in the country, which are supposed to be doctors running the universal health coverage. CS Ministry of Health anasema nini? Tafanya nini jamaneni? Just like Eston said, mi tafanya nini? Hiyo si mambo yangu.
Suzanne Nakumincha.
Yes, Nick.
Well, I told you from day one, Richard,
Yeah.
there are CSs that seriously need to resign. I call for the resignation. One of them being Suzanne Nakumincha.
Yes, we've been calling
Because
out for her
she's
resignation.
very incompetent in her role. Right now, Richard, health is a basic need.
Yeah.
If I get sick today, I'm rushed into the nearest hospital. There's a strike in hospital. What do? I die on the floor.
Yeah.
My children get sick. What do? They die on the floor. Now I want you to imagine the situation that Kenyans are, Richard. One, there's a government that is forcefully trying to force into their throat the housing levy. Two, they're now sick, they're depressed. I want you to imagine the situation. Walk with me a little bit.
Yeah. Now I'm depressed.
Yes, you're depressed. Where do you go to if you're depressed?
I go to a health official.
Hospital.
Yes.
If you know, there are things that when depression starts, you start having stomach upset. You understand? So you rush there. You almost think you're having malaria.
Yeah.
Right? You rush to the next hospital. Before you reach the hospital, you are thrown to city mortuary.
Wow, we weren't gonna get to the hospital.
Yeah, because it is by design, Richard, that this government has plotted its way to finish us.
It's by design.
Yeah, let them just agree that they want to finish us. But by the time 2027 reaches, we already have our death certificates.
Wow.
Because right now it's a challenge to go outside of this country to even look for a job. It's a challenge for even having enough doctors. It's a challenge to have the medical facilities.
Actually, if you make it to hospital, if you don't make it to the morgue and you happen to make it to the hospital today, your NHIF card will not help you because Rural Private Hospital Association is on strike and saying they will not accept any NHIF because their disbursement of previous funds have not been done.
And I'm not a prophet of doom because a storm is coming, Richard, and the doctors have set precedent. The teachers are on the way. Because you give these people very little salary and expect them to survive. They are at a boiling point, day by day, day by day, day by day. And it's very sad because, as my good brother here said, apparently most of us signed for this, let me say, death bill. Death bill, that day in, day out, we are suffering for what we did not choose.
This is the cost of corruption.
You understand?
Yes.
And probably to assist the CS, Susan Nakumincha, on her duties, because apparently I'm supposed to be her advisor and she's not paying me good enough. Probably to support, to advise her. There is a committee in Parliament that is called the Health and whatever committee that is supposed to make policies and bills that she can implement as a CS. We as a country seriously need to decide if we're going to fully devolve the issue of health or if we're going to partly devolve, especially on the issue of salary and maybe facilities.
Yes.
Because that's where the problem is. Doctors are demanding for what? Better pay.
Yeah, that's all.
It's all about how much are you paying me?
Yeah.
Now you tell me, Richard, this is a man who spent almost half of his life in medicine, why will he take notice to a dying patient if I'm not getting paid well?
Yeah.
What are my kids going to eat? I don't understand the kind of reasoning that is going on their head.
4.9 billion Kenyan shillings is what the Ministry of Health is saying is the budget shortfall from the Treasury. And the doctors, though, are saying that they will only deal with issues under the Ministry of Health, and any other ministry that wants to meet them, the Ministry of Labour, Treasury, our Turkey conversation now, Eston, the health situation, the health sector is in a crisis. We have young doctors as well, actually, and that's one of the biggest pain points that led doctors to this kind of strike. Young medics who graduated from Kenyatta University, University of Nairobi, are yet to be posted, and the ministry have been saying from January, next month, wallahi, tuna post. And then March, wallahi. And then April for sure, date one. And the doctors are saying, tutangoja hiyo mambo, we need actual outcomes. We're in a crisis. NHIF is not accepted anymore in private hospitals because they have not gotten their money. Actually, the new scheme, which is SHIF, which is supposed to take effect from July, remittances inaanza sahizi, but between now and July, the ministry is saying you will not get services through SHIF. But where is my money going in between here? It's too much is happening there. Are you in agreement? We have an incompetent CS, or there's more issues?
Nakumencha has always been mincing her words.
Yeah.
Because I will go back to the intergovernmental summit of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
There was an agreement between the county government and the national government.
Yeah.
They decided to place the primary care networks in the hands of the county government. But at this minute, who is receiving the funding for that? The national government.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to alternate when it came to servicing and maintenance of medical equipment supplies. They said for the first quarter, it is the national government who will take care of that. For the second quarter, it will be the county governments, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So the first quarter was supposed to be the national government. Who received the finances for that? The national government. Have they done it? No.
Nothing.
Now we have failed units, Oriano units, radiology, the ICU services have been halted in many health facilities. I'll give you an example of Nairobi County. Mm-hmm. Nairobi County paid for the facilities within Nairobi County were awarded 3.3 billion by the national government. 2.9 billion out of this went to Kenyatta National Hospital, KU, Training Referral Research Hospital, Mathari Hospital, which are run by the national government. 326 million went to the county facilities.
Penny, that's a transaction cost.
That goes to show you if indeed the national government wanted to devolve health, is there political goodwill? Because for anything to be successful in a democracy, there has to be political goodwill, and that is what we are missing from the president, from the CS, because the president is supposed to be telling the CS what to do. Mm-hmm. The president is supposed to be keeping her in check. If she's not performing, let someone else, let someone else do it. Mm-hmm. But when the president is not keeping her in check, and we can constantly we are seeing her go back on her word, why do you think the doctors would trust her word? They would never do it.
They wouldn't. Yeah.
Because we have someone who has always been going back. Wallahi, like you said, wallahi, this year, I promise, I swear. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to I think it is only a mirror of the government we have today, the KK regime. Mm-hmm. Too many promises and very minimal delivery. Yes. They promise. Mm-hmm. Now we have a CS who has been constantly promising, and now it has caught up with her.
Right. Is it trickle-down effect from the president, who's known to also promise in 6 months?
Yes.
In 6 months or like in 6 months. Tumeweka pesa hapa kando. And as you said, goodwill is a very big
and
thing.
You cannot run a country by promises. Yes. You have to deliver.
Right. And goodwill is lacking, as KMPDU is also saying here. SecGen is quoted at the back of the Daily Nation asema, goodwill is earned from the outcome of previous commitments. We have had commitments before, but nothing has been implemented. So therefore, due to a lack of goodwill, we'll not be listening to any more of these promises. Nick, as you give another remark on this one, I just want to know, when it comes to issues of health, and we are facing danger in losing lives, there are some Kenyans here, when you just scroll your social media, watakuwa like, this is a matter of life and death. Doctors wanafaa kujitolea. This is passion. This is something they did for passion, not for the money. How do we still get to talk about that level of morality, but still address their grievances? Is it possible to, at this point, have your cake and still have it?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Richard.
Yeah.
It boils down to the issue of morality that you want me to talk about. Doctors, do they have moral when they leave people to die because they're not paid well? It's a tight balance, Richard. The thing that leads people mostly, we know, is money. Money has become a huge incentive. However, there is a thin line between getting what you deserve and greed. Now, I was watching early this morning around 3 a.m. I was watching the people of Bomet and people of Kericho, whereby they were heckling the president and the governors. And then there's this MP for Belgut, Dalson Koech. He said that the people of Rift Valley need to stop early campaigning. They need to understand that the president needs to work. Where am I going to, Richard? The president had set precedent on early campaigns. Now, what we are seeing in each ministry is a result of his early campaign. The health sector is failing because of his early campaigns. The education sector is failing because of his early campaign. We cannot whatsoever put that blame on the doctors when they're demanding 7 years of pay. Yeah. We cannot. It's inhumane.
What is due to them.
Right? And those are just doctors. We have not talked about teachers. Teachers in Wajir who go in a very insecure place to teach, yet they don't have even resources. They don't have even money to send back home. Because one of the things that we are suffering as a third world country, Richard, is poverty.
Yeah. So I can imagine a doctor who's in Wajir as well, who hasn't been paid for that long and needs to dispense medical services.
Forget about even that. You can imagine I'm a doctor and my village believes that I have money and I'm the savior of that village.
Yeah. How do you continue to do that while...
How do I explain to them that I'm a doctor who's broke?
Yeah. And I'm not going to help you for this week as well.
Yeah, you understand? Because when tackling the issues of community, it's a communal thing. That he is my neighbor, he's sick, he's expecting me to heal him at the same time give him bread.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Now I'm trying to convince him that I don't have this bread, but I can try, do my magic or do my skills as a doctor to heal him. But he does not want to be healed. He wants bread. Yeah. So that is where many Kenyans are, that they expect doctors to do their job. And doctors are telling them, enough is enough. Yeah. We are not angels. We are human beings like you. We have families as well who get sick and also need to
be taken care of with money that I need to earn from this practice.
You understand?
Yes. So let the doctors get what is due to them. You can follow up on that story. Of course, we will be here back on Tuesday to see what has developed, and that's what the Daily Nation has. Globetrotting county officials, doctors still on strike. Secondary schools to get cash next week. That's what you are. Also, we haven't spoken about teachers. The Standard has a story. I think maybe let's tie that Ministry of Education as well into this, as we're pointing out competencies.
We'll talk about Ministry of Education.
Uncertainty as ministry chops schools' money. Education Ministry says it's facing 22 billion shortfall. Each shortfall that every ministry is talking about, Eston, how do we plug it? The Ministry of Health is saying 4-point-something billion shortfall. Ministry of Education, 22 billion shortfall attributed to a stagnant funding for 6 years, despite a surging population across campuses. There's that new funding model as well to speak about the Education Afya Bill, ambayo ilishatolewa for secondary schools. And they're being promised money from next week here on the Daily Nation, page 3. As someone who's at the helm of student politics and education matters, bado kuna shortfall huko.
And Richard, if you look at the shortfall spillover in all these counties, I mean in all these ministries and counties as well, you will see something. Richard, we do not have a resource problem in this country.
Yeah.
We have a management problem. It is a matter of priorities, because you cannot say that we do not have money for doctors, and yet you propose 50 new CSS. And then you get your people to cap that number to 22. Where is this money for CSS coming from? Because now we have had a typical tradition of blaming the victim. When the doctors go on strike, now it is a matter of morality.
Yes, it's a moral question.
Yeah,
it becomes a moral question.
What about our lives?
Yes.
Yeah?
At the same
time, the cost of living, it's our businesses need to be opened.
And these doctors, they are being shortchanged, and they can see that. They can see a Form 4 dropout who became an MC get a pay rise, while you spend 6 years in campus taking medicine, and now you have to negotiate for 7 years to get a pay rise. Why would you not have a problem with that? At the same time, you have a president who's saying we do not have money, and he now gets an additional budget, an additional State House budget, an additional Office of President budget, an additional Deputy President budget, an additional
spouse budget, right?
And then you tell these medical doctors that they have to understand. Understand what? They need to understand that they're no longer the priority in this country.
Oh yeah.
They're no longer the priority. Because when you look at the education sector, when you look at the Ministry of Health, these are the sectors that we need to prioritize most.
Yes, basic rights.
These are the ones we need to prioritize, because health is a fundamental human right. And when you look at this health saga, you will notice something. We have a country, a government that is putting taxes before health and money before life. Just look at what is going on. And this country, they are bulldozing whatever they want, whether it contravenes the human rights, whether it contravenes the constitution. As long as it is what they want, they push forward with it. But what the people want, now it becomes a bone of contention. It becomes debatable. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
The KRA is seeking to force the medical practitioners to disclose patient data in what they're calling the ETIMS. It's the electronic tax invoice management system that they want the Ministry of Health to subscribe to.
Yeah.
And that means they will expose details like the patient's names, the sex, the hospitalization, the treatment details, and it's going to expose the public to prejudice. Because in the recent interview, KRA, the same KRA, used medical and pregnancy tests to deny deserving employment to people.
Yeah,
to
for
Kenyans.
the
and now you want to give the very same KRA access to personal information, and that in itself goes against the Bill of Rights. That is Chapter 4 of the Constitution. It goes against the Health Act, the Patient Rights, the Data Protection Act, the Hippocratic Oath, the Medical Practitioners and Dentists Act, and the Digital Health Act. They are willing to bypass all these acts to bulldoze what they want, but they're not willing to sit down with doctors and give them what they want.
What they already agreed on.
What they already promised, actually.
Yes,
because this is a government of promises. What they promised, they're not willing to deliver on their promises.
Yeah.
But yet they're willing to break or bend the constitution according to their will.
So many unconstitutional things, Nick. If we can even tie this, because I see also time is flying by, if we can tie this with our last story on the Standard, which is the housing billions. Ruto has his way. So many unconstitutional things that is, according to Esther, is pointing out in just one case. When it comes to appointment of CSS, unconstitutional. When it comes to the housing bill, housing levy, which had already been collected for a couple of months, unconstitutional, declared unconstitutional. And I can't even exhaust the list of things that the High Court has struck out as unconstitutional so far. And they still go ahead, push it, whether through Parliament, whether through different acts, and push it till it works. So it seems for the next couple of years, sana nafaa kufanya nini basi? Kwa sababu it seems everything that is unconstitutional, regardless of whether it's contravening my rights, my fundamental rights, my fundamental access to health. And I did see one Kenya Kwanza government official here, and I really want to get the exact member of parliament who said that we have overestimated our access or our privilege to rights as Kenyans. That's the view from inside. I'm going to get the exact MP because I have to say the name. What am I supposed to do in the next 3 years?
You know, Richard, probably the government perceives us as young madmen who just wake up in the morning to come and lament on a national television.
Yes.
But you see, we are privileged enough for us, Richard, to come here and talk on behalf of our people, the things that are burning. As a matter of fact, we are the people that were holding them from bursting.
Yeah.
Because we are leaders, and we understand that the grievances of our people. And the worst situation is these grievances of housing, health, food, education, affecting the most the young people. And I will tell you why. Because, Richard, our parents have done up to their level best. Most of them are almost at their retirement age. As a matter of fact, majority of, let me say, some of them have already retired. So they have fought a good fight.
It's our turn.
It's our turn. And our turn is becoming heavy. Because if we're losing in each ministry a minimum of 20 billion per ministry per year, I want you to picture in the next 3 years, how many billion are we losing?
Yeah.
And I want you to picture another scenario. You talked very well about the issue of rights. Now I want you to picture how it's going to be very heavy for you to pay this debt. Because we are collecting taxes, we are still on loans. Yet we are saying, na pesa iko wapi?
Yeah.
Remember, they said, kazi kwa vijana, pesa mfuko.
Kwa wazee.
Now it's becoming sad because the people of Roysambu, I don't know much about maybe the people of other counties, but let me talk about the people of Roysambu. The people of Roysambu are telling me, they are telling you, Richard, that this president, wamemwangalia tu, yake inachemka.
Na tumechemshia wengi.
Yes,
Unaona tutachemshia huyu for 2027.
Huyu lazima tumchemshie because I told you, Richard, here, and I am reminding you, Baba is gone. No one is coming to save us.
It will be Baba while you are away.
No, Baba is no longer. It's no longer Baba while you are away. He's gone.
Baba is gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
You wanted to send him to Bondo. he's in Addis Ababa.
Okay.
Our party leader, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, me and Eston, is our party leader.
Could it be that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is telling doctors to strike?
We sent very angrily. I not just spend 15 sana na party leader wangu. We sent Uhuru very angry to Ishaweri, right, saying we don't need him, right? Now our people, especially from the mountain where me and Eston come from, are begging him to speak each and every day. And we have seen some leaders, especially those coming from Nyeri, asking him to for goat offering.
Yeah.
I don't want to say for goat eating, but goat offering. They want to plead mercy. But so it is sad.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's very, very
That's
important.
why you see situations where the president is getting heckled, even in his own backyard in Kericho.
Especially in his own backyard.
And that is where now the double standards come in. Because they're saying that they're going to crack down on people who heckle the president.
Yeah.
But when the president says, wangapi wanakubaliana na mimi nione kwa mkono? He expects the people to answer him.
Yeah.
But when these same people say, no, uongo, that's heckling.
Yeah.
So you only want us to answer when it's beneficial to you. But when it doesn't go according to your will, now it's heckling.
Now that's goons.
No, you become goons. You're no longer Kenyans.
Yeah.
But when you're saying pesa mfukoni,
Asla uko wapi?
wacha nione kwa mkono. Now you can wave your hands. But when it comes to saying uongo, you cannot even move your lips because that is heckling.
And you will be arrested. Here we are showing a caricature editorial cartoon in the Daily Nation where thou shall not heckle. Commandment number 11 of the Kenya Kwanza
how they've become petty. The SG of UDA, one Cleophas Malala, released an immediate press release sanctioning all, let me say, Kenya Kwanza MPs from having a discussion with my Nairobi senator.
Let's not embarrass ourselves.
You see, even the MPs that are being sent there, they don't know whatever they're talking about.
It's funny.
Now
And this is a free democracy. How do you deny freedom of expression and association
Yes.
from your own members?
You're saying your own members should not be in a platform to express their ignorance. You're also saying that Kenyans should not express their dissent.
And that only goes to show you that we elected people who do not think.
Incompetent.
They don't think for themselves. And it is now the person who is playing the piper that is calling the tunes. It is not the people who were elected.
Right. Wow.
And yet we wonder as Kenyans
Yes.
where we're going as a country. You know, the problem is when brilliant minds like Richard, Nick, and myself run for office, what do they say? You do not have the resources. You're not a friend of the president.
Yeah.
So we cannot elect you. So they decide to go with a political party. And this is something I've been telling people. Political parties do not build schools. They do not build roads. It is the people you elect, the individuals you elect, that will deliver to you as the constituents, as maybe your senator, your governor, your MP. These are the people
not
you
the
will.
party.
It's not the
Utasema ODM hajanijengea barabara.
Hakuna ODM highway. There is no UDA highway. Hospital. You see.
Yeah.
But when you go to these same people, even today, even having seen the truth of the matter today, they will still go back to their old ways.
Right. That's a message from Eston. Acha kupiga ati suti, ati tunapiga suti. That doesn't help. The suti will not help you out. 9:57 in the morning, which means we have under 1 minute because the show closes at 9:58. I'd just like to get a last word, Eston. I wish we had more time, but I'm sure we'll get that very soon, and then we'll have more time for you to also talk about what you do and your work. Nick, please. One statement to close, and then
I thought he's doing the last word.
Oh, you do the last word?
Yeah, let him do
okay.
the last word.
Eston, last word there. Just maybe you can say who you are, because it's your first time here, and then you
let
can
me introduce myself. Yes. I am Eston Minor. I am the National Treasurer of MKUSA, and I am the Chairman Jubilee Youth League, Laikipia County. And mine is just a stage in time saves 9. That is what we always said while writing our compositions. And now we have come to a point where we have always been crying over spilled milk. And all this could have been avoided had the buses been inspected. Had the driver been confirmed that maybe they had enough sleep, we could have avoided some of these accidents we're having today. If we elected the right people to office, we could not be crying about the hard times we're having as Kenyans, the lack of delivery, the promises that are not being delivered upon. And it is only during hard times, our wise man said, it is only during hard times that people come to understand how difficult it is to master their feelings and thoughts.
Wow.
I want you to ponder on that.
Right. Who said that?
Only during hard times. The Anton Pavlovich Chevkov.
Okay. Wow. Russian. Think about that, Nick.
Well,
people of Roysambu
and MKUSA, it's been a good show.
Yeah.
And let me pay my patronage. You know, I'm usually saying to my national treasurer, and today is here.
Yeah. It's right around.
So let me just say to our national chairman, let me just say that is Faris Jane, to the people of MKUSA and to the people of Roysambu. Asanteni sana. Sana.
Right.
Yeah.
Asante sana, Nick, and President Eston.
Thank you for
showing up here on the show. Someday we'll get to talk about presidential aspirations and much more within the political sphere.
I'm looking forward to that.
Right. This was the newspaper review this morning, and as you've seen, the stories we're highlighting are affecting the youth the most. Young interns, the youth. Budget travels, the youth. Hii pesa ambayo ifikini, the youth. And I'll close it up with one Ustad guru and genius, a philosopher, who once said, in the streets it's getting hot, and the youths, they might get so cold. This has been Biashara Tuesday. My name is Richard Kenya. I'll see you here next week. May your week be successful. May your profits be high, your jokes higher, so that you can laugh all the way to the bank. I'll see you around.